Alright, welcome to the channel, Cobalt Blood Gaming. I'm your host, Cobalt, and today we're going to be playing some Demon Hunt. So yeah, I've started, I was thinking, and I think I'm going to start doing daily roguelike runs. I play a lot of these games, and I don't really feature them on the channel, and I was realizing, why not, So this is Demon Hunt. This is a survivorlike roguelite. And yeah, it's pretty unique in its progression, I would say. A lot of them are just simple, you get currency, you buy thing, and you keep going. This one has this little, like, sphere orb thing. And you unlock the orbs with currency you get from finishing runs. And you notice each of these orbs has two different effects. So start your hunts with extra skill points, or bosses have a chance to drop extra skill points. Now I've placed that in a red slot, which means I'm getting the bosses have a chance to drop extra skill points. If I place it in a blue slot, I would get start your runs or your hunts with extra skill points. So it's pretty cool how each orb can be two different things based on where you want to place stuff. And it can kind of let you customize the run the way you want it to be, which I think is really cool. I enjoy that about this game. And so a lot of them do, different things. And yeah, this can help quite a bit with progression. We just added chest drop more items. Actually, we just added chest drop higher rarity items because that is another huge thing about the progression in this game, is the itemization. So you come in here and you have equipment that you wear. And it goes from gray to blue to purple, orange, red, and then green is sets and yellow is uniques. So yesterday I actually got a unique in this game. I've spent quite a bit of time playing it. And so basically for a specific upgrade of the minigun, I now get bullets shooting the opposite way, which is really cool. Uniques are kind of the only ones that have powers like that. Sets usually have set bonuses that pertain to specific bosses, so they're not necessarily better than just, say, red, like these, but they do have bonuses that pertain to specific bosses and scenarios. And sometimes their stats are better, but it really depends. In this case, this red one just kind of seems worse, and I don't think I would replace it. In addition to these existing, you also have several things about them. A, you can upgrade them, so they have a rarity and a level, right? So I could theoretically upgrade this purple rarity to orange if I wanted to, if I really liked this reactor. I don't, I'm not going to. I could upgrade the orange to red, but for things like the uniques and the sets, I don't really have a rarity that I would upgrade it to, but it has a level. So I can basically take this and level it up so that all of the stat bonuses on it are more effective. So this is projectile speed, attack speed, crit power, and ember damage. So this is actually pretty good for the minigun specifically. I do not have the materials to upgrade it right now. See, it says you need 27 of these. I'm missing that part. But yeah, so you can upgrade your equipment. You can craft new equipment so you can craft any piece of equipment at any level. You can craft set pieces. So you come over here, you can craft those. You can also craft uniques as long as you have the materials for them. I don't right now, so that's neither here nor there. And then on top of that, you also have a storage here because you have so much itemization. It's a big part of the progression of the game. You can also recycle things like I'm doing right now, just getting rid of the unused equipment so that I can collect more on my next run. So that's pretty interesting. On top of that, you have a skill tree for each unit you get. There are 3 units in the game right now. So there's Brute and Spectre, and Strider is the one you start with. So Strider's ability is to sprint, so you run a little faster. It helps with repositioning and dodging things. Brutes is to burrow, and then Spectres is phase shift, so you dash forward at high speed, phasing through enemies and damaging them, and you're invulnerable during the dash, so Spectre is kind of really what I want to unlock, but I'm not quite there yet. In addition to that, you can start with any of the weapons in the game, so I haven't unlocked these 4 yet, but I have unlocked all of these for starter weapons. And you notice the tick marks next to the weapon, so the more you use the weapon, the more of those tick marks fill up. Basically, that indicates the starting rarity of the weapon. So you can upgrade rarity mid-run with both weapons and artifacts. With the weapons, if I start with a purple one, I'm going to be having much more of an easy time than if I started with gray, say, okay? So that's kind of the reason for this, and the way you upgrade it is by simply using the weapon more. So I always start with the minigun because I have that unique, but you can still upgrade other weapons just by playing with them. So here are the runs. Currently, you pick the run by what boss you want to fight at the end. There are 4 bosses. There's only 1 map, but there are 4 different bosses. So I've done threat 1 up through threat 1 on everybody, so except for this last one. So I did threat 0 and then threat 1. So I'm gonna do a threat 1 with Ulfoon and see if we can get through it. This game has been a pleasure to play. Like, honestly, this game's pretty awesome. I'm a huge fan of survivorlikes, and I play a lot of them. And this one already is kind of putting itself quite up there to me. Between the itemization and kind of the builds and the diversity they have, I really enjoy that because it allows me to kind of tinker a little bit more, which is something I hugely like in games. I've always been more of a theory crafter kind of tinkerer, which I think just goes back to like when I was a kid. I didn't play a lot of video games, so I was very bad at them. But I wanted to play them, so after a while I just started learning how do I bend these mechanics to suit me so that I can play this and do well at it. In these games, normally it's a lot more shallow of a system, so I've really been enjoying how they've set this up. This is early access, so there are some bugs. I actually went to record this video yesterday and had a crash in the middle of a run. And so I'm back here now to record this video. So there are, you know, it's not without its foibles, but so far this is a pretty solid roguelite. And I would highly recommend giving it a look. I don't actually know how much this costs on Steam right now, but I know it's not that expensive. I think it might be like $5. Actually, you know what? Let me check before I just tell you guys something that is entirely not real. Yeah, currently it's $7. Currently it's on sale for $5.59. If that is something you guys think you might enjoy, I highly recommend checking it out. I'm having a blast with this game. Now, I have a lot of survivor-likes on my computer, okay? It's a genre I really enjoy playing. I actually used to stream on Sundays and just only do survivor-likes. So I don't know. I'm a little bit discerning about those at this point, right? Because there's so many that it's like, okay, well, whatever this game gives me, this other game gives me that plus more, right? So it's nice to see a game with the kind of depth I want in a survivors-like, which isn't always the case, right? These games are fairly simplistic gameplay-wise, so it's one of those things where really what sets these games apart from each other are the systems surrounding the gameplay, right? It is okay, this one has equipment, as opposed to just a generic, like, pegboard that you go down of, oh, buy this and it enhances you. That kind of makes you feel like you have a little bit more control, which is really nice. And I think it really kind of, again, sets this one apart from the others. And There are quite a few of these that I play that I really like. I think Soulstone Survivors is probably one of my favorite. I know that one is very polarizing. People either like the fact that you can kind of infinitely scale and do crazy stuff, or they really don't. And there really doesn't seem to be an in-between with that, which it kind of makes sense. I get that. I get where some people dislike it, and I think that is like the biggest key with this genre of games. It's hard to make a bad one, I feel like, right? Like, yeah, there are some that are bad. I'm not going to say that all Survivors likes are, you know, at least decent. But I will say that because it is so much about the particulars that set it apart, it is very much a... If you think one of them's bad, but like the production, the quality is pretty good, I feel like it really just means that one's not for you. You know, this type of game isn't for everybody, but also the games within it aren't for the people who enjoy this type of game always. But I've been having a great time playing this one so far. So a big thing about the builds is two things. A, as you've been noticing, I can upgrade 3 different facets of each weapon. So let's just look at the minigun for now. You have damage, attack speed, and then I had range, but I maxed that out already because that is what my unique benefits. So once you max one out, then these others are crossed out for the last 2 upgrades, and you can only upgrade them 3 times. But once I pick one of these, it will entirely get rid of the last one. So I pick damage. I can now no longer put any points at all into attack speed. So it kind of forces you to choose how you're going to build each weapon. And I've definitely found some weapons have builds that work for them, and they have other talent builds that, in my eyes, don't. Maybe someone who's much better at this type of game than I can sit there and say, well, Cobalt, no, they all work really well. You're just not doing it right, which is fair. So far, I've found the upgrade system for them very interesting. So once you upgrade all 5 of those dots, you get an evolution power. So for the minigun I'm using, my evolution power that I chose was Gatling, and it turns it from kind of a spray and pray weapon to more precision. So you notice I have a pretty precise stream of bullets there. And my unique item is what is making it also shoot behind me. So it's allowing it to do a lot of damage. A minigun is probably my favorite weapon in the game so far. It's really served me well. Oh, okay, we got a yellow. So that is a unique item token. I will be able to make another unique piece of equipment when I leave here. So I'm really psyched for that, because I don't think there are any other equipment slots that will enhance minigun, but I can enhance a different weapon and start kind of having, you know, a couple of different weapons that are good for my build. So I just picked up an artifact. The cool thing about how you level up in this game is XP amasses skill points, but it doesn't necessarily level you up. You level up once every, I believe it's 30 seconds. And so what happens is, if you were to get a magnet and pull in all the XP, you can end up like this with a bunch of skill points that are unspent and a level up. So you can kind of save them. You can also just resume at any point in time, so I could choose not to spend any of these. And I can also re-roll them. So what I'm going to do is finish that. I also bought a artifact here that gives a status on my ember shots, which is what the minigun shoots. It is an ember weapon. So now when it fires, it will also sometimes cause like a little combustion pool below enemies that does extra damage. There's an effect like this for each of the elements in this game. So far, there are 4 elements. There is Ember, Void, Corrosive, and Ion. Ion's just electricity, and Corrosive is, you know, toxin, acid kind of deal. I think actually Field, this weapon here, might be the next unique I go for, because I really like this one. This is essentially garlic, but for this game. So it's very helpful. The enhancement, or the evolution I really like on it, gives it a chance to just instantly execute enemies that step within your aura. It doesn't work on elites or bosses, but the unique item that enhances that makes it so that it works on elites and bosses, but it just does big damage instead of execute them. That's still pretty crazy. We'll see how that goes. You can basically run this game several different ways, right? I can go for like a crit build and the high attack speed, which I've done a couple times. It works pretty well. Usually what I do is play towards the elemental status effects. So not only do I go with element, but I also go with the statuses. So like the ember that places the combustion circle on the ground. There's also ones you unlock as you get further into the game. So I have one that if an enemy gets hit with ember and ion, it makes a little tornado, which is really cool. So I like how they've kind of approached their elements. It reminds me of Spell Brigade, which is sick. Spell Brigade, the nicer part about the way they handled that is the fact that you kind of get the ability to make any weapon any element, which is a bit more freeing than this system. The way the elements can combine in this game is very nice. So yeah, this is what I was talking about, this artifact. So ember weapon hits have 1.5 to 2% chance cause a combustion damaging nearby enemies. So we're going to keep upgrading this. The more powerful this gets, the better my minigun's going to get by just spawning a bunch of combustion circles. So that's basically what we're shooting for here. Could go dual saber. I find this weapon to be the most useless out of all of the ones I've unlocked so far. I think if I actually really sat down and gave it a chance, it's probably not that bad. I think I just personally don't like it. That is one thing I will say, is the weapons are pretty unique, but they don't necessarily always feel unique. They don't really, I feel like they don't, at least to me, change up my gameplay style that much. But I also could just be, I don't know, playing wrong. Or just the simple fact is I find what I like and I stick to it. So it might be that thing where if I diversified my build a lot more, I would see a lot more differences. But I think that is like the biggest, so far that and the crash that happened that I wasn't too fond of are my biggest critiques of this game. As far as survivor-likes go, Demon Hunt is a fairly solid one that I would highly recommend to people. We're not even going to level that up. We're just going to keep going. The nice part about this one, too, is I feel like there's a little bit more of a bullet hell aspect to it, even though it is a bullet heaven, which is nice. It kind of keeps you engaged a little bit more. With all the survivors likes I play, and I kind of like having both types. I like having some that keep you really engaged and like you have to watch everything or else you're gonna die. And I kind of like having others where it's just like, oh, you're playing Soulstone Survivors. You just make your stats high enough that you can just tank hits and it doesn't matter. Or you can just dodge every hit and it doesn't matter. I think both of those styles are fun, but for different reasons. Oh, it's boss time. So the bosses are really where the bullet hell aspect comes into this. And they're actually pretty fun because of it. I think they're kind of limited on the bosses right now, so it's one of those things where when you play a run, all of the bosses except for the last one are the same. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see throughout early access, is then maybe add some extra bosses, some choices, I guess, or maybe not like player-driven choices, but like it rolls and you don't necessarily end up with the same fights in the same order every time. I think that would be really cool. Granted, I do actually like the bosses that are here. I wish there were some with a little bit more of a mechanic besides bullet hell. I think that is difficult to do in a game like this. It really just depends on how the company is approaching it and things like that. Because, for example, in Soulstone, there are certain levels where if you do certain activities, you summon bosses, and I think that was really cool. They had that separated out for seasonal events. So like there's a map that has an Easter boss and you have to like collect eggs. That's really fun. This just kind of has, as you've been seeing me run around, it just kind of has these little like altars or shrines or pylons that you need to activate. And if you activate, some of them spawn elites, some of them give you buffs to your power. So like that one just gave me plus 2% attack speed for a limited amount of time. And some of them, like this one, are a bargain. So I'm going to trade away 24 points of health because I get my health back pretty quickly. And that's going to spawn an elite. And that elite is hopefully going to die and spawn something that will upgrade the rarity of whatever artifact I choose. And that's kind of how, at least from what I've been noticing, how you gain the most power in this game, is you kind of come in here and you upgrade these artifacts along with your weapons. So now as your rarity is going up, you're gaining a lot more power. So the key is spawn as many elites as possible and then just keep pushing that. At least that's what the key I've discovered is. Obviously someone else who's probably far better than me at these games is listening to this going, what? I don't play it like that. What's wrong with you? But that's the nice part about survivorlikes. You play it how you want. They're all easy enough and also difficult enough at the same time. Right, so I said I get my health back, but I am not regenerating as fast as I want to. So we're going to increase the regenerating under the tree, because that is what that specific artifact does. I think that's a really cool ability. Really cool idea for a perk in this game. Trees are everywhere, but they're also not quite literally everywhere. So it's a nice way to heal, but also make you have to think about it. Ah, here we go. This is what I was talking about earlier. So when a demon has taken both Ember and Ion damage, further hits with Ember or Ion weapons have a 1% chance to spawn a tornado. So we're going to pick this up because this thing's awesome. I believe there's one for every elemental combination. I just haven't unlocked them all yet. But you can see those tornadoes kind of popping up now. And those do quite a bit of damage and really keep the field clear, which is nice. Oh. Would like to not be getting shot. That would be amazing. Nope, that was... okay, I didn't get my wish. I just walked into a bunch of bullets like a moron. We're gonna upgrade that. I want more tornadoes just smacking shit in the face. I know one of these gives me... okay, so this gives me really long beams, this gives me 4 beams, and then this one gives fire at the end of the beams. We're gonna go with 4 beams. I'm kind of going for like the minigun is the boss killer, and then everything else on this build is going to be for just sweeping up mobs. Clearly by the damage counter in the bottom right, though, the minigun is still doing work on mobs and everything else. I think it's just the strongest thing I have. Oh, this is so unfortunate. I would have picked up both of these. I just didn't have, I didn't have points. I need to find a magnet. That is the one thing, is leveling up. You can kind of strategically time it to be, you know, after you've gotten a magnet and picked up all of your XP so that you have things to level. That is the only downside to you just kind of hitting a level up screen every 30 seconds, or 20 seconds, I guess it is. If you have been doing what I'm doing, which is just kind of running and murdering and not really paying any heed to stuff on the ground, you can accidentally just have a string of level ups that give you legitimately nothing. Because you just don't have the points to invest. But I will pick up one of these. I think I'm going to go with the Javelin because I have there's an ability, well, a status, I guess is what you would call it. I can get based on Ember and Void hitting something. So let me get that Void weapon and see if we can get that status, because it's pretty cool. Meteors just fall on your enemies, which you wouldn't believe how good that is on bosses. So yeah, this is a soulstone. It's slightly different than the other pylons I've stopped at. Basically, I want to keep killing enemies while under it. And then at the end of that, it spawns an elite or two. This actually just spawned one elite, but it happened right as a boss spawned. So now I got to deal with both these guys. I'm just going to focus on the boss and act like the elite's not there. Eventually it'll just die. Which is seemingly what's happening. I hope. Oh, yep. Okay, so the elite's gone. This boss is a little bit more kind of what I like of just... It has a little bit more of a mechanic, I would say. Like or a dodge pattern, at least. I don't know. I feel like I have to pay more attention on this boss than I do with the other ones. Oh. I just ate those. I caught those. They weren't gonna hit me, and I said, hold my beer, and grabbed all of them straight out of the air. Like an idiot. Can be hard to dodge all of them, which is why I still do like to invest in a bit of defenses. Maybe some armor or something. Okay, we're gonna upgrade field because I want that evaporate to be better, which is the possibility of an insta-kill. And every big boss drops a magnet, so that's super awesome. We really needed one of those. I wish it insta-sucked everything in, because this amount of time it's taking can actually screw me over. Like, this level up's gonna happen, and I'm still gonna be sucking in bits, but that's okay. Alright, now we're cooking. Now we've just got, like, this area of death around me. I've got 80 HP because every health potion I pick up gives me 1 extra max HP. We're doing well. I feel like I probably shouldn't have gotten uniques this early into the game. They definitely kind of feel game-breaking-ish. Like, ever since I got it, I have not had too much trouble in a run. I do have plenty of more difficulties I can go up, but each difficulty that you do unlocks specific things. And I haven't tried skipping one yet. I probably should. I probably should try to skip one and see if I unlock the stuff on the tier below it as well. So a lot of times you'll notice I don't take anything, or I only take blue and higher. And that's just because upgrading rarity is a big source of power, but if stuff can spawn at blue, I don't have to worry about upgrading it. So I'd rather wait until it does spawn at blue. There's some certain upgrades that are just good enough that I don't even question and I will take, but most upgrades and or weapons I will make sure I get when they are blue and nothing under that. We're gonna grab this blaster, we're gonna grab this, and then the blaster is gonna be Pierce count. I think if I go full Pierce count, I get Ricochet. Actually, I know I get Ricochet. I might go attack speed. I haven't locked in yet, so we'll see. I like to kind of skirt the edges on the map. Just grabbing things, I find it works pretty well. So some of the artifacts I don't like picking. So higher chance, projectiles have a 10% higher chance of critical hit, but they deal no knockback. Knockback I've found to be seriously helpful in this game, so I will not be picking this. It probably is very good if you're going like a full crit build, so you just be deleting things, and like who needs to knock them back if they're dead, right? But I have not set myself up to do that, so I feel like if I lose my knockback, I'm going to lose quite a bit of survivability and CC that I have. And that's never good. We went Pierce Power on this guy? Yeah, I guess we're going to keep going Pierce Power. Get the Tempest Tornadoes up. So yeah, you can see that now that I have A, more weapons of those elements, but B, more attack speed and see higher rarity of that artifact, there's a lot more fire tornadoes just popping up. And they pretty much keep the field clear. The issue is with visibility of them. And so I'm genuinely wondering if either, actually, let's check. Let's see if they have it. I want to see if there is flash, just how much it, okay. I want to see if there is a way to lessen the particle effects. So something similar to Soulstone Survivors. In Soulstone Survivors, it's actually just a hotkey. It's hotkey to down on the D-pad, down and up on the D-pad, to increase or decrease your particle effects, because the game gets kind of nutty once you start getting really big and fleshed out builds. So it's a lot easier when I can just kind of halfway through the game lower my particle effects. It helps see and it helps me dodge enemies. This game, it gets very cluttered, much like it, but I don't have a way to do that. Luckily enough, you don't produce anything that is the same bright red as the enemy skill shots, right? So in Soulstone, because there's a bunch of different types of particle effects, it's really nice to get rid of them completely, just to make sure you're not dodging into enemy attacks and things. In this, it kind of doesn't matter as much, purely because all the red is the enemies, every other color is me. However, I would like to see them put that in either way. It's not necessarily a confusion between color, but just straight up the amount of stuff on the screen. It's very hard to concentrate on maybe just one or two things that'll be important. Oh boy. Okay. Hello, boss doggo. Boss baboon. Is that? Yeah, you seem to be a baboon of sorts. I don't want to touch you. Please don't touch me. I feel like you're gonna give me some sort of disease or just death. Yeah, as you can see, the boss fights, I don't know, to me, they leave a little bit to be desired. I don't know if I necessarily want them to be outright harder or more just different mechanics with them. It's a lot of, okay, dodge in this pattern now, which makes sense. It is very bullet helly, and that kind of fits. But it's 2025. I want to see some things with a little bit more intricacy combat-wise. But they are still really fun. I'm not gonna sit here and bash it and be like, oh, it's bad, because it's not. Like, that is the thing with this game I found. I found myself having a wish list, but not necessarily a list of bad and critiques, right? There's things I would like them to add, but not much I would like them to change and or get rid of, other than maybe, like I said, the boss mechanics would be kind of cool. And something to lessen these particle effects. These tornadoes have taken over my entire screen. This is absurd. I mean, it's cool as hell, but I can see nothing when they really get rolling. So I'm making sure I grab all of these altars and chests and things, because if I can find one and show you guys, there are things called pylons. They look very similar to the shrines, altars, chests, what have you, except they kind of have a counter on them, and it is counting how many altars you've interacted with. And if you've interacted with a certain number, the pylons will now be open. And once they're open and you can interact with the pylons, you may use them to spawn an elite. There's one. So if I had come to this thing earlier, it wouldn't be all yellow, it would be gray, and then yellow for the number of altars I've done. But I came to it after I unlocked that, so now we have an elite on our tail, and of course I can't see him. He's there. He's southeast of me. I can barely see him. But I still keep going after that because A, as you saw, chests can give you pretty rare items. I'm hoping to get more of the materials for the uniques, because I think a whole build of uniques would be pretty cool. As with any game like this, right? Just being able to have special powers and stuff. I don't know if there's a limit. Probably is. But I'll see. I thought I died there for a second. That scared me. Okay, let's get out of here because I am in danger. I want to get more leech because I can just make it so that my hits recover. This is what I was talking about. So when Demon has taken both Ember and Void damage, further hits with Ember or Void weapons have a 12% chance to bring down a meteor. It's gonna get more particle effecty and pretty nutty and super fun. This is why I want to be able to turn down the particle effects, because this is getting ridiculous. Let's increase the Void Rifts. I keep saying I want to turn down the particle effects, and I keep picking options that are going to give me more particle effects. Such is the curse of these games. I want everything to be as crazy as possible, but I also want it to, you know, work and be visible. Although it does seem to be pretty well optimized, I don't notice, like, a lot of chugging or anything from my computer when I get too many particle effects on screen. That's more for just me playing the game and being able to survive. But it doesn't seem to be bothering my computer in the slightest, which is nice to see. Because even with Soulstone, if you get up there, some computers start having a tough time. Mine's usually fine, but I have heard reports of people getting to the point with, like, Soulstone where their computer's almost crashing. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see what they do with this game and what it's like when it gets out of early access, because so far I'm very pleased with the bones they've provided here, with the structure, the basis for the game, so I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's fully polished up. I hope they add some more units you can be. I hope they make the units look different, right? Because between the 3 playable units that you have right now in the game, the only difference seems to be their color, which is fine, I guess, but I would like there to be some more things. Okay, this boss sucks to fight because he has, like, these yo-yo balls while he's also shooting out other balls, and there's a lot of balls and it's very painful. Like that. That hurt a lot. I'm probably gonna fail, to be honest with you. I am probably going to fail and die, and this will be all she wrote for me in this game, which is sad. I'm not doing enough damage to, like, hedge my bets on this failure. Well, I at least got him to his second phase, which is cool, but I'm gonna die. I'm not that good at bullet hells. Yeah, so that was Demon Hunt. I highly suggest, if you like survivors likes and roguelites, look it up, give it a chance. It's pretty cheap, and for the amount of money I paid for it, it has definitely earned its value in fun. Anyways, thank y'all for watching, and yeah, y'all have a good one.